So, this is really different for me, and I'm pretty sure for y'all too, so just bear with me. So I've been trying this new study thing, and so I've allotted specific time and a specific amount of time for reading, praying, and listening. And so for the past couple of days, I've been, trying to listen, and I will get here and listen to the music and try to listen and don't get anything. And I haven't heard anything. And so then after I'll just say, thanks God, we'll try again tomorrow. And so I go through the day on Friday, not hearing anything, not have heard anything. And then as soon as I am about to lay my head to sleep at 3 a.m., I get a memory. God tells me, reminds me of this memory that I had when I was a kid. And I said, okay, why are you telling me this? Because this happened almost 10 years ago. And he said, courage. That was the one word. I said, okay, thank you. That's it. And no, it wasn't, because he kept saying courage, courage, courage. And I was trying to go to sleep, man. It was 3:30 at this point, and I said, okay, you know what? Since you're not leaving me alone, let me not Google. Let me put in my Bible app the word courage. Let me see what Bible verses I can come across with courage. And by the end of our talk, I looked at the notes on my phone that I had been taking, and it looked exactly like a sermon. And I said, oh, okay, all right. So, I can't wait to read this tomorrow by myself. And he said, no, I need you to tell it to my people. And I said, okay. All right, I'll do it in April for the tribe conference. I'll see you there in 5 months. And he said, no, I need you to do it now. I need you to do it on Sunday. And I was thinking, first of all, this is my first time doing anything like this. So why would you have me do this in a day? You're trying to play me, because this is not going to work. And I said, you know what? Fine. I'll do it on Sunday, because I'm in my head thinking it's Friday, so I have 2 days. Well, it was the morning of Saturday, so I didn't. I had 1 day. I said, oh my God, okay, you're just gonna have to do it, because I cannot do this. And I'm just letting all of y'all know this message is not from my head. This is not from me, because I would never write any of this down. I would never do anything like this. So this is definitely God. So, long story short, I woke up Saturday, tried to convince myself that everything that happened was a dream, that he wasn't talking to me, and that this was not going to happen on Sunday. Well, as you can see, y'all won. I am here, and we are getting into the Word. So, my message today is called Courage is Contagious. Courage is contagious. And this message really needs to be applied considering we are going into the new year. So we're going to need some courage. The example and the memory that God had given me when he was talking to me was when I was little, I would have these sleepovers, and there would be probably about 10 of us girls at a sleepover. And at one point in the night, we would always want to watch a movie. And mind you, we're like 10 years old, 11 years old, and they all wanted to watch PG-13 movies. Well, my parents weren't with that. And I was 10. Why would I be watching a PG-13 movie? So I was always faced with a choice. Do I say, okay, I'll watch the movie? Because they were telling me, well, your parents, they won't even know. They won't even know if you tell them, unless you tell them. Well, first of all, my parents talk to God like he is on the other line. So yeah, they're going to find out probably before I even get home. So that's not going to happen. I could say yes, do that, or, go against my conscience, go against my parents' rules, so now I'm a disobedient child. Or I could say no to the movie and risk being alone, risk being the only one who is not going to watch the movie. So now I have to sit out here for probably 2 hours by myself at somebody else's house. It's not like I was at my house. And I say no, and I'm not invited back. because who wants a killjoy? You know, who wants someone who's lame, you know? Well, I always would say no, because I couldn't risk the disobedience, and maybe I would have seen something that would have scarred me for life at 10, you know, because they were trying to watch horror movies and I don't do that. So, you know, maybe something would have happened. Well, God told me that same courage that you had to say no and stand up to your friends is the same courage that we're going to need going into the new year. So, I looked up the definition of courage, and courage means mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. I'm going to say it again. Courage is mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. Mind you, it doesn't say courage is just moral strength or physical strength. Courage is mental strength as well. And that's something that we, you know, can get weary on when we're going through a process, when we're going through a season of elevation or a season of, you know, a valley. We don't have that mental courage. And that is what we need going into the new year. So our main scriptures that we're going to be looking at today, if you guys want to write it down, is Joshua 1:5 through 9. Joshua 1:5 through 9, and Judges 6:14, 23, 36, and 40. Judges 6:14, 23, 36, and 40. So my first point today is courage takes 4 things. Courage takes leadership, number 1. You might be the only one who is willing to stand up at first. You might have to be that one. When God tells you to do something, you have to have the courage to know, okay, I'm the one he just told, so I'm going to take the leadership and I'm going to do it. Courage also takes discomfort. We don't want to be uncomfortable, whatever. So, you know, we don't want to do that because we like the comfort zone. But you can't ever grow in the comfort zone. You have to be stretched. You have to be tested. You have to persevere. So we have to be uncomfortable when we are taking a courageous walk or a courageous journey. The next thing that courage takes is isolation. You have to be okay with the possibility of you being the only one. And we don't like that. We don't like that, especially now when we have social media acting like we are around people all the time. We don't want to be the only one. I didn't want to be the only one saying no to the movie because I didn't want to sit for 2 hours by myself. And I was 10, so I didn't have a phone. So what was I supposed to do? I didn't want to do that. But I had to be okay with the idea of, okay, I am going to be the only one. And that's okay. The 4th thing that courage takes is trust. Trust that God has something worthwhile for you on the other side. And so for that one, we're going to go to Joshua 1:5. And it starts like this. No man shall be able to stand before you with all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will not leave you nor forsake you. Be strong and of good courage. For to this people you shall divide as an inheritance to the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Verse 7. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses, my servant, commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. This book of law shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night, and you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. And I want you guys to take note of this one that says, for then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. We have to trust that God is with us wherever we go. We have to trust that when we are taking a stand, when we are being courageous, when we are going through a faith fight, that what he's got on the other side is prosperous, it's successful, and that he is with us the whole time. We may not feel him, but that doesn't mean he's not there. And you have to have the courage to know that he is not going to leave you out there to dry. He's not going to tell you to go do something and be like, all right, you got it. I'll see you on the other side. No, God is with us. He's ever present. He's not going to just stop being around when things get hard. That's the one person that is not going to leave you when things get hard. Because I know we go through some things and we start seeing all our friends fall away. And you know, that sucks. That really does. Because I've seen it in my life where I'm going through something really hard and there's nobody around. And the people that you thought were going to be there for you are not there. But you got to remember that the one person who will be there when you are in trials and tribulations is going to be God. My second point is, what did the enemy do? Because if you think that you're going to take up a courageous act of faith and a courageous journey, that the devil isn't going to try to mess with you, okay. Like, he's gonna try to mess with you. This building process, this has not been the smoothest building process. You're right. It has not been smooth at all. There are some things that have just gone up and down again. And that is because we were building the house of the Lord. We had the courage to do what God has promised. And because we had the courage to do it, the devil doesn't want that. He doesn't want us to just have a great building to worship God. No. So if you think that when you're going through a faith fight that you're not going to be tested, you gotta have that courage so that you can survive. So for that, we're going to go to Judges 6:14. And the word says, the Lord then turned to him and said, go in this might of yours, and you shall save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Have I not sent you? He's talking to Gideon. So he said to him, oh my Lord, how can I save Israel? Indeed, my clan is the weakest in Manasseh. I still can't figure that one out. And I am the least in my father's house. And the Lord said to him, surely I will be with you, and you shall defeat the Midianites as one man. So the first thing that the devil wants to do when you're faced with a situation is make you question yourself and the truth that you already know. God told Gideon, you will save Israel. You will save. That was the promise. You will save Israel. And Gideon responded with, well, how am I supposed to save Israel when my clan is the weakest, when I don't have as many strong men as the other people? You know, see, when we get a promise, sometimes we start looking at our qualifications instead of God's qualifications. We start looking at, well, my strength, I don't have it. My money, I don't have that. My resources, I don't have any. But instead of looking at, it's not according to our riches and glory, but to God's riches and glory, to God's power, to God's might. He is not going to send you on a journey and he cannot provide. And that's what he was trying to say to Gideon. You are going to save Israel regardless of what you think that your clan has the power to do, because your clan is my clan and I have the power to do all things. So you have to be courageous and take the fight anyway, because God is going to provide. The second thing that the enemy wants to do when you are going through a courageous battle is he wants to eventually make you go against that truth. Because if he gets you doubtful and he gets you into the space where you're questioning yourself, questioning your qualifications, questioning your strength, then eventually your mental toughness, that mental courageousness, that is going to make you go against the truth. You're going to stop. Because the state of questioning equals a potential for doubt and confusion. And if we allow ourselves to give into that, we get confused. We draw back from the path instead of stepping forward and stepping on and continuing. James 1:6 says, but let him ask in faith with no doubting. For he who doubts is like a wave of the sea driven and tossed by the wind. When you start to doubt, you're no longer planted. You're no longer footed in what God told you to do, because now you're over here, you're over there, you're everywhere, because your mind is sitting there wondering, well, how am I supposed to do this? When God gave you the promise, you thought you could do it. We normally, sometimes, we get a promise and we're like zealous and we're excited and we might be a little nervous, but we're like, oh yeah, God finally spoke to me. He gave me a promise. Great. And then as more time goes on, that time can either be your friend or your enemy. And time, if we don't see results, sometimes we start to doubt, like, are you sure that you gave me that? Are you sure that it was me who you meant that for? Are you sure that I can do it? When we don't need to be asking those questions, because we need to declare. When you are in a state of doubt or confusion, you need to declare the word. You need to remind yourself of the power that God has. You sit there and you look at the word that says in 2 Timothy, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. That's the word you speak when the devil is telling you, you can't do that. No, God hasn't given me a spirit of fear. I can do it. I can do all things through Christ. You have to talk back to the enemy, because if not, he's just going to keep talking to you. You know, we can't sit here and act like the enemy is just in our ear and you can't talk back. You can talk back. Like you can talk back to God, you can talk back to the enemy. Don't let him sit there and make you confused and make you doubt the promise and the path that God has already put you on. You have to talk back to him. When we stop having faith, the enemy is able to get a hold of us. We allow ourselves to become susceptible to the spirit of fear instead of the Holy Spirit, which is the spirit of strength, protection, love, and blessings. We start getting like Gideon. You know, when God tells us, hey, I want you to go apply to this new position because I want to promote you. I'm talking to somebody right now. Somebody's going to get a promotion. In the new year, you're going to have an opportunity. Your boss, somebody, I don't know who it's somebody, is going to get an opportunity to be elevated in their job. And the enemy is going to tell you that you don't have a qualification. You might have more of the qualifications that are on there, but the enemy is going to blow up that single one that you don't have. And he's going to make you try to shy away from it. You need to get the courage now to know when that happens, you are qualified. Because God isn't looking for your qualifications, because he has already qualified you in his name. Don't look at what man's qualifications are. Look at what God's qualifications are, because he called you to apply to the position. He's not going to not give you the position or not make a way, because that qualification might come when you get the job. You might get the qualification while you're working. So don't worry about it. Be courageous and apply anyway. You know, I'm in college, and there's a lot of instances, I should say, experiences, fun that some people, we are presented with. And I noticed a lot of us don't like the fear of missing out. We're just going to go anyway because we don't want to be alone. We don't want to go on Snapchat and see all of our friends posting about the same party that we chose not to go to because the Lord told us not to go. We don't want to look on Twitter and everybody has an inside joke and we don't get it because we didn't go to the party. And the fear of missing out is a big issue that will stop you from standing up and taking on that journey. I remember there was one party that it was a homecoming my freshman year, and I was like, you know what, I'm not really feeling it. The Lord told me to go to Mansfield, and I was like, can't I just go back to my dorm? That's so much quicker. But no, he told me to go back home to Mansfield. I said, you know what, okay, I won't go. And find out later that night the ceiling fell through of that party, and it was all over the news. And I just know that with my happy self, I would have been right up in the mix in the middle of that dance floor trying to act like I can dance, and I would have fell through the roof and I would have broke my legs. So I'm glad that God told me not to go, because I would rather be alone at home with my family than be in a hospital bed because I decided I want to have some fun. So yeah, there's always going to be another opportunity for you. If God tells you to miss out on one, to stand up, to show that, you know what, I'm not going to do that. There's always going to be another opportunity for you to have, fun, whatever. Like, it's not the end of the world. So just don't make it an issue when God tells you, I don't want you to go there, or I need you to say something. We don't want to be the center of attention sometimes. I was in one of my astronomy classes, and he was trying to teach us about the Big Bang. And I said, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything today because this is college. It's like my third day out here, and I'm really not going to do this. Well, he told me to ask my teacher, where did the Big Bang come from? Because he was trying to teach us like it was a truth. And so I raised my hand in front of all these people, and I asked him, where did the Big Bang come from? And he said, we don't know. I said, okay, so you're trying to teach me something that you don't even know? All right. And you know, a lot of people around me said, I'm so glad you said something because I'm a Christian and I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to do this. Courage is contagious. When you have the courage to do something, you will give other people the courage to stand up as well. You will give them the opportunity to release their courage. So don't think courage is just for you. Courage is for everybody else too. I know somebody who is very courageous to me, and that is my dad. Yeah, whoop whoop. And when my dad was told by the Lord to drop everything and go to Jamaica to go to school, when he was already out of school, he was like 26. He had a good job. He had a life. And the Lord told him, go and live off your savings and go to school in Jamaica. Well, there's the same school in Dallas where he's from, so he could have just went there. But the Lord told him, go to Jamaica. Well, we find out, 24 years later, that he found my mom, his wife, in Jamaica. If my dad hadn't had the courage to leave what he knew was comfortable and to stand up and be a courageous warrior in the fight and the journey that God was trying to take him, he would have never met her. That's right. He would have never met her. Remember that God might be asking you to do something that seems physically and fleshly difficult, but it will give you a better blessing on the other side, because the blessing and the end point is always going to be better than the journey. It will always be better than the journey. So don't get stuck in the trials and tribulations and the, little hills that you have to climb over, because you will get a better blessing if you have the courage to keep walking the faith fight that God has put you on. My last point is courage reveals 3 things. The first thing that courage reveals is the promise. And we talked a little bit about that in Judges 23. Gideon was promised by God that he would, save Israel. And there was also where he said, you're not going to die. So that's a pretty great promise to me. Because if I'm finna go save your people, I don't want to die trying. So I thought that was pretty great. And in Joshua 1:8-9, where it says, for then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Have I not commanded you, be strong and of good courage? Do not be afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. He got that promise after the Lord told him, be of good courage. Be courageous. You have to be courageous first. You have to have the mindset of, okay, I'm okay with being alone. I'm okay if, God, you're telling me to do this. I am the only one, and I feel like there's nobody else around me. But you got to remember that there's always God. God will always be around you. And he promised Joshua that after you have the courage to take on this assignment that I put you on, you will be prosperous. You will have good success. And you will be not afraid nor dismayed, and the Lord will be with you. I mean, sometimes we look at the Lord being with us as not really a promise. And I don't know why. We want physical things, We want to pray and then see it. We want, something we can put our hands on, something tangible. The Lord being with me wherever I go is enough for me. It's enough for me, because I know there are some situations that could have ended a lot worse if the Lord hadn't been with me. Especially on college campuses. It is dangerous out there, for real. It really is. And I just know there's some situations where the promise of God being with us should be enough for us. So don't think like, well, God, you told me I get a new car. Like, where is it? Nah. Be courageous in knowing the fact that God's with you in the car that you have right now. because I recently was in a car accident and it shifted my spine. It made the base of my neck lock so I couldn't go backwards. And I just know that if the Lord wasn't with me in that car, it would have been a lot worse, because it was at an entrance, and there was a median where the entrance were, for someone to come in and come out, and it was raining. And she was speeding and I was going, and when I hit her, I couldn't slam on my brakes all the way. If she would have been just a second slower or just a second faster or anything, her car would have got crashed into the median. Like, who would have known what would have happened? But I know that the Lord really saved me, because my back hurt, yes, but I could have been dead. So the Lord being with you is a promise that we need to take serious and we need to have faith in. Wherever you go, so is He. Courage will also reveal friendships and relationships to you. When I was said no to the movie, I didn't mention it earlier, but there was some of my other friends who decided not to watch the movie as well. They came out. They said, you know what? We didn't even have to watch that movie. She really could have picked something that everybody could have watched. And I thought that was real. I said, wow, like, y'all are really going to sit out here with me, find something to do, just because, one, you didn't think that that was right, what she did. And also, some of them didn't even want to watch the movie. My courage had given them the courage to stay out of a situation they didn't want to be in. And that's the thing. The Lord might have other people around you in some situations, and they just need to see somebody with courage so they can use their courage to get out. Don't just think courage is for you, because courage is contagious. The last thing that courage will reveal to you is character. Not just of you, but of others. It will test your obedience, and it will test your perseverance. And in Ephesians 6:10, it says, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but of principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. And I love that it said, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. You might be in your dream job. You might be in church. You might be in a good space, a safe space. That doesn't mean the devil is not going to come get you or try. He is in these heavenly places trying to get us off the path. And we have to have the courage to recognize, hey, wait a minute. That thought isn't from God, because anything that is bad or is going to derail you from a situation that is good for you, that is not of God. And you have to recognize if it doesn't sit well in your spirit, and y'all know that gut feeling comes. If it's not sitting well, that is not it. So you just got to know that you might be in your dream. Because a lot of people are going to be getting in their bags this new year, and we might be prospering. We might feel great. That does not mean that the enemy is not going to try to get you. But you will have the courage, and you should have the courage to keep going anyway, to press with God anyway. Don't let the devil stop your blessing and stop your dream and stop your prosperity. Because as we conclude and we enter the new year, we need to enter it with courage. God, when He was speaking this message to me, told me over and over again that this is the year of blessings on blessings on blessings. I really didn't mean to do that, but you know what? Okay. This is the year of elevation, promotion, opportunity, and favor. There are some people who have had their blessings paused or held up. We have already been promised a promotion. We were already promised something, and it hasn't seemed to been released. It hasn't come out. It hasn't been manifested, and we don't know why. God is going to release these things in 2019, but what we can't do is shy away from it because we weren't used to it, or because now it looks bigger than what we imagined. It's way over our head. Well, don't shy away from everything you already prayed for. When God gives you what you prayed for, if it looks too big, you got to say, you know what, God, this looks a little too big. This looks a little bit more than I can handle. But give me the courage to take it on anyway. Give me the courage to handle it anyway. Instead of saying, I can't. No, we can do all things through Christ. And the Lord will give you what you ask for. So ask for courage. Do not enter the new year with last year's mindset, or you will get last year's results. And even if you had a good year, even if you had some good results, they're not going to be better than what you can have. Don't get comfortable in what you think is your best. Because just like Pastor Chad said a couple weeks ago, sometimes we get comfortable in our best when God is trying to take us better. There's always another level God can take you. But if we go into 2019, if we go into the building with the same, mobile mindset, we are not going to get the best results that we can. So I encourage you, because some of us are going to get promotions. Some of us are going to get opportunities, and everybody is going to get blessed this year. That is the year of blessings. And we have to have the courage to take on these blessings, to take on this journey. And we have to be okay with being alone. God, if you really needed somebody around you in the situation that you're going through, God will provide for that. But He needs to make sure that you are not leaning on somebody else for their strength, but you are leaning on Him for His strength. Because once you're okay with His strength, and once you're okay with, you know what, God, I might be alone right now, but you are with me, He will provide somebody else to come and hold your hand, to be that shoulder to cry on. So don't just get in the mindset of, I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be alone. If I do this, God, I'm not going to have any friends. If I say no to the movies, Lord, I'm going to be by myself. No. Because God gave me half those people to come out and sit and watch a movie with me. And if He could do it for me, He's definitely going to do it for you in any situation that you have. If you need someone to pick you up in a little bit of, a valley that you're going through, God will send that person. Just cry on God first. That's all He's asking, is to trust Him first. Have courage that He will provide. He will give you the strength, and He will give you that person or that something that will help you. So, out of all this, just be of good courage. Because what's in store for the new year is already yours. So take it and be of good courage when you take it. Be courageous. Thank you.